back with a 2-cent Tuesday tip. Today we're going to be putting in our drip irrigation line. So I just want to give you kind of a quick, simple overview of it before we really get into the process. But this will just kind of be in a nutshell the entire process, but then we'll go into more details of different steps of it. But you've got the first thing you'll have would be your main line, and this is what's going to run at the end of your rows. Then your drip tape, your T-tape we call it, and it's got a emitter. This particular type of tape has got a emitter every 12 inches. It's going to connect to your main line. This is one of the most important parts here. It's called a pressure regulator, and this will be what screws on the end of your water hose. So you screw that on, and it limits it to 10 pounds of pressure. So it doesn't matter if you're just watering one row or you're watering multiple rows, it'll never allow it to have more than 10 pounds of pressure, which is perfect for your drip line because that'll keep it from splitting and blowing out. But what you'll do, there's different fittings, and we'll link to all this. Everything that I'm showing you here today came from a place called Drip Works, and that's where I like to order my supplies. I do that online. It's something that you want to have everything on hand. So honestly, I normally buy more than what I need because it's something you want to have on hands. It might take you a week or so to get it in the mail. This isn't something that you're really able to run down to a big box store and pick up. But you're starting with your water hose is going to connect here. And then this is a connector. These are called Easy Lock connectors, and I really highly recommend them because they're so easy. This is a 3/4 inch main line. See how it's a thinner wall, but it's perfect for this type of application. But it will slide on here, and then it's Easy Lock, and it literally just, once you get it slid all the way on there, you just twist it, and now it's locked into place. It won't come off. And so this will be your water line here, or your water hose coming from your spigot. Then on this other end of your main line, it's another Easy Lock fitting, but it's actually an end plug. You can screw this off if you want to flush out your line or something, but in essence it's just stopping up the end of your main line so you're not losing water out the end of your pipe. You put that in place, and so now we've got our water hose here, you got your main line, and this is your actual connector that's going to connect to your main line, and it's going to put your drip irrigation line, your T-tape line, will go into that. And to make that fitting, that's a little 1/4 inch barb, and it will actually go into your line. So if I had this laying out on my water on the end of my row here, I would be more precise of where I want that to go, but since this is just a demonstration, I'll poke a hole here, and now and this is a little poker tool that you can get, that they've got different sizes depending on the size of the connector that's going to be going in there. Like I said, this is a 1/4 inch, but they've got them a little larger as well. But though, you just poke your hole with that, and then once you've got your hole poked, you just pop that in there. And a lot of times you can hear it pop, but once it's in place, you can pull on it. And the neat thing about it, all of these parts are reusable, with the exception of your main line, and it is reusable, but it's something that you want to be pretty precise of where your rows and stuff are going to be. For it to be effective to be reusable next year, your row needs to be in the exact same spot. But all of these fittings, you can actually just pull that back out, and it's good to go to use it again next year. Or the neat thing about it, you can poke it back in that same hole and it will still work and not leak. And then your drip line that's running down for your plants will go here. This is an Easy Lock as well for that. When you're putting in your Easy Lock, you always want to make sure that you've got your fitting screwed all the way back to your hand there, to the main line, and then you'll slide that on there. And I like to do my drip line with a little bit of water in there. The reason being, it just kind of helps you keep from getting dirt in there and get a better connection. Then you'll tighten that up. Then if you've got water in there, you'll be able to tell. If it's just more than a small drip, well then you've not necessarily got a leak, but it's not as good a connection as you'd like to have. So you just want to redo it again, but then tighten it up. But once you get that in place, there shouldn't be any leak here or leak there. And all of this is somewhat of an investment, but at the same time, if you get to looking at how long it's going to last you and how efficient it is, because drip irrigation, the neat thing about it, you're not putting out a whole lot of water and you're not putting it into the air. So you've got a whole lot less evaporation. You're actually putting it down over the plant's roots, right where you want it to be. You could actually bury this a little bit if you wanted to. I don't necessarily recommend that, or at least not something that we like to do. The reason being, if you've got it buried and you come along and you're hoeing, you're going to knock a hole in it more. Whereas what I'm doing, I can actually just move it out of the way when I get ready to hoe down beside my plants, and then I'll put it back over where it's at. But this tape here, there's different weights of it as far as the meal of it and how thick the plastic is. But it will last you several years, and especially if you'll roll it up at the end of the season, store it in a good place out of the elements and stuff and away from varmints or mice or anything like that. But this T-tape here is actually something that we had on the farm. This is about everything was on a lot bigger scale, but this is about a 600-foot row. It was a row of squash. Probably in the field we had maybe 5 or 6 acres of squash at that time. But it was something that's in a roll. At the end of the season, we rolled this up. And believe it or not, this has been rolled up probably for about 15, 20 years in storage. And I pulled it out. It's a little bit of a hassle to unroll it and everything, but then once you apply your water to it, you'll be able to tell if you had any leaks anywhere. Then there's connectors, these same type of connectors, and I'll show you one here in a moment, but basically they'll go into the T-tape. You can cut it where the leak is, then you just put your connector in and it's good to go again. Thank y'all.